Ladies and gentlemen, one of the very first things that I'm sort of worried about, and I've mentioned it since we figured out that Enzo Maresca is going to be the Chelsea manager, the next Chelsea manager. We already know this. We're just waiting for official confirmation now. But I said one of the very first things that I am somewhat worried about is how will the players react to all of this? Can Enzo Maresca get the players buy-in? Can the players restart again and give open themselves up to entrust Enzo Maresca? This is the very first thing that I'm worried about because we all know, and I'm going to bring out the comments of Cole Palmer in regards to Mauricio Pochettino. And it's clear to see, clear as crystal, clear as daylight, that these players were very, very close to Mauricio Pochettino. Very, very close. And just for a second, put yourself in their shoes. Predominantly, a lot of these players are young. And I don't think they're used to such situations where managers chop and change in such a frequent scenario like it does at Chelsea Football Club. Some of these young players probably have never felt, or seen or been part of an organization that consistently changed managers left, right, and center. You could say that our players previously, the more experienced players that we had once upon a time, they were accustomed to it. They were very, very used to that situation. And overall, it probably didn't bother them because their experience drove them forward. Whereas the players we have right now, they are of a delicate nature. They are of a um, state at the moment where you do need a lot of nurturing. You do need to put your hands around them. And I just wonder, with this shock, and I'm pretty certain most of these players probably didn't anticipate that Mauricio Pochettino was going to get sacked, parted ways with, whatever, however you want to paint the picture. And I'm just a bit concerned that these players, with the young nature that they have, the young inexperienced nature that they have, that they can move on from this quite quickly and start fresh again. And I think the fact that the end of season is here and the fact that they're on holidays and the fact that it's going to be a little while until they all come back, hopefully in time they can just get over it. I know it may be a bit difficult, but I'm hoping that they can get over it. And I'm sure the upcoming Euros, the upcoming Copa America, hopefully will help in the process of getting over Mauricio Pochettino. And to the players that are not participating in these competitions, I just hope that they go away on a holiday and completely try and eradicate and erase the memory as much as they can. I'm not saying forget about your relationship completely, but in order for them to move forward, I think they're going to have to do some sort of mental exercise. Now, check this out, ladies and gentlemen. Cole Palmer on Mauricio Pochettino. This is the first comment out of a lot of the comments that are circulating around, especially in Absolute Chelsea's page. He had a tough job. Half the team has been injured. Some very important players too. So it's been difficult for him. But everyone loved him. All the players did, and he's been very important for me as well. I mean, we saw Cole Palmer right at the end of the season. I can't remember exactly which game, and post that win, Cole Palmer came out publicly, and the first thing he said that players are fighting for him, players love him. This is, we can sit here and laugh about it. We can sit here and ignore this. We can sit here and say, these players get paid a lot of money. Get over yourself. Get over it. This is what Chelsea Football Club's all about, chopping and changing. Yeah, I'm not really sure whether we should just chop and change anymore, man, because the more you keep chopping and changing like this, especially when you don't win. You can chop and change like in Roman era as long as you win. But when you chop and change and you don't win as well, yeah, I'm not really sure whether it makes sense. Especially when you finally now, I believe, that you have a particular manager that has a strong set of footballing principles, strong football philosophy, more control based. Yeah, I'm not really sure whether you can just chop and change like that. And Enzo Maresca comes across a particular manager that is extremely serious, very serious about his work. I've seen some quotes of Enzo Maresca saying that the day when the hierarchy, and these are not new comments, I'm talking about comments when he made when he was in Leicester. And he was quoted to say, the day when the hierarchy does not have any faith in the way I play my football, the very next day he leaves. So this guy is a strong-minded person. He believes very, very highly on his way of football. So, you know, these players will need to buy in. These players must buy in, or else there's going to be immense issue in the beginning. So look, as you saw, Cole Palmer, and then I get it. Cole Palmer is a particular player that has worked with Enzo Maresca previously, and that definitely holds value. But you can see from this comment that Cole Palmer, he's definitely one of those players that has been shattered by this particular situation of Mauricio Pochettino parting ways with Chelsea Football Club. And the crazy part is, right at the end, when it kind of looked like for a lot of fans, I know there's still fans that probably believe that he needed to go, but there was a quite a large portion of the fan base that probably started to think right at the end that maybe you give him another opportunity next season. Now, obviously, you're not forgetting what has happened earlier on in the season, but right when it looked like that, maybe these players are finally starting to gel. That's when obviously we parted ways. Um, like myself, I never believed in Pochettino. I was more concerned about who's linked after Pochettino, and we know um, some of the names in the shortlist wasn't great. And even now with Maresca, a lot of people will say that it is an underwhelming appointment to a particular manager that is not managed at this level before. Now, moving on to the next bit of commentary from Cole Palmer, and it goes something like this. So obviously, he talks about the injuries. He highlights the point that injuries impacted Mauricio Pochettino's progress, and even through injuries, all the players did stay together with him. Cole Palmer, when he first came, he installed the foundations and made sure everyone knew what was required. Then he started to teach us what he wanted to do. But first, we needed that base. As a man manager, he would push you if you slack off. I mean, once again, the support you're seeing from Cole Palmer here, the level of conversation, Cole Palmer doesn't come across a particular player that just fluffs around and just talks airy fairy stuff. No, I have the utmost respect for this young player. When he talks, I think we need to listen. And he's saying over here that you know you can sit there and potentially blame Pochettino. I definitely have. I know a lot of you guys have, but the inside story kind of paints a different picture that perhaps when they've just installed the foundation and when they were just about to kick off, the manager had to part ways with the owners. And there was a cheeky comment from Jurgen Klopp. I thought I was going to make a video, but I don't want to put an entire video on Jurgen Klopp. The bottom line is, look, there's a lot of things that Jurgen Klopp said in his recent comment. If you haven't seen it, do check that out, where he talks indirectly about Chelsea Football Club, saying that if he was ever a Chelsea Football Club manager, he would be sacked immediately. He wouldn't be given that time. And to a certain degree, he's right. He's right. we are ruthless, and it seems like we're still ruthless. But the issue at the moment is we don't win. At least previously under Roman, we were winning. That is the biggest difference at the moment. But having said that as well, Jurgen Klopp talking so much for someone who's only won one Premier League title in his tenure at Liverpool. I think sometimes it's best that you don't talk about Chelsea Football Club just for your sake. However, his overall message is true, though. You know, football is changing. Football is you can't. It seems like you can't just chop and change like that. As I said, you could potentially chop and change if it's bringing you success, but you can't just chop and change like that. And just when it looked like maybe the foundations were laid by Pochettino and they were just going to kick off, um, that's when it all halted. And I'm pretty sure this would have been quite heavy on the players. This definitely would have been. And we've seen Cucurella put out Instagram story in support of Pochettino, Nicholas Jackson. We saw how devastated he was. And undoubtedly, Cole Palmer is someone who also is very, very devastated, if not the most devastated. Cole Palmer, it was a really good end to the season having the players back. We'll have to see when we get back from for preseason what the team is. Many different things can have an impact. And this, for me, is the most important, ladies and gentlemen. How these players are going to come back. I just truly hope, for Enzo Maresca's sake, for our sake, the fan base's sake, for the sporting director's sake, for the owner's sake, that these players, they can come back from the preseason and just have a clean slate. Don't hold on any grudges. Don't hold any sort of disgruntled feelings towards the club in regards to what they did with Mauricio Pochettino. I know it's going to be difficult. It's very easier said than done. You put yourself into that situation where you've connected with a manager, and that manager, boom, gone. you had no inkling that that was probably going to happen at the end of the season. It was a shock to the players to then come back to a new environment, to a new setting. And believe me, ladies and gentlemen, Enzo Maresca's football is not going to be anywhere remotely same to Mauricio Pochettino's one. It will be very different. It will somewhat be difficult as well at times. I'm not even going to lie. There'll be players that'll find this quite difficult. They'll have to adapt. Some may not even adapt. On top of that, the relationship that you need to build with the new manager, you are starting all over again. Everything that you might have built on last season, yeah, gone. You start fresh again. And I'm sure for players to just keep restarting fresh over and over again, yeah, I'm not really sure whether that is always ideal. And this is why I say this Enzo Maresca appointment, this is it. This is it, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a good manager, in my personal opinion. I think we've got a good manager. I think now it's time to be patient. I don't want to see us in the same situation next summer where we are once again looking for another manager. These players will lose faith in whatever this project is, so-called project, is all about. They'll lose all faith if they haven't already lost some faith. Do you know what I mean? Cole Palmer, qualifying for Europe was a step in the right direction, but hopefully next year we can go up a level. Hopefully Cole Palmer can stay focused, can buy into what the new manager has to say. As I said, Cole Palmer's worked with Enzo Maresca, so hopefully he can be one of those role models that drives other players to believe in the blueprint of Maresca and completely buy into what Enzo Maresca has to say. And similarly, Enzo Maresca will also have to do his level best to get the players buying. You have to be able to sell that. And for me, ladies and gentlemen, this is huge. I'm sure, Cole Palmer probably expected Europa League, but it wasn't to be. Man United did a nice surprise package on Man City, and we're in the Conference League at the moment. Nonetheless, if we do pursue to, enter into that competition, we have to win that competition. And I hope that that's a silverware that will boost up the confidence of these players and kickstart the Enzo Maresca era, I suppose. And yes, of course, we do need to build on that sixth position finish. Um, I'm hoping that we can crack into top four, but as I said, even if we can make it into that top six at a bare minimum, for me, that is still progress. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, as you saw, some interesting comments from Cole Palmer. And as I said, I don't think it's just on Cole Palmer. I think there'll be few more players that might be in the same boat where they're still hurting from the Pochettino situation. I hope they get over it very, very soon. I hope they can move on, not necessarily completely erase the memory, but you got to find a way to move on. And let's see how they all perform next season under Enzo Maresca. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts about some of these comments from Cole Palmer. How do you react to it? How do you feel about it? Comment below, smash the like button. If you're here for the first time, subscribe, hit the bell notification to stay in touch with all my content. Until next time, everyone, take care. See ya.